Episode 33 of the New England Sports Media Podcast. Liam and I are heading virtually down to Sealy, Texas to catch up with our old buddy from the Globe, Cole McNanna, who's been down there for a couple of years now and has moved up the chain, an editor now down in Sealy.
All of a sudden.
And just survived the terrible happenings that happened in Texas as well. Cole, let's start there. What was that experience like for you? I mean, obviously, I sometimes in my head, I was like make a joke, like, oh, he's from New England. It's not that bad. But like, obviously really bad. So like, what was your experience like with that?
Yes, it was pretty crazy. And, I guess the biggest thing is that they just weren't prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? Like they just weren't prepared for that long of a duration of cold because they haven't seen it before. Right. So it was pretty crazy. I had experienced winter before, but like I said, nothing was prepared. So electricity went out. There was all sorts of problems with that. And then the water was all messed up too. So people didn't have water. People's pipes were bursting. So there was just a whole lot going on. But luckily I was able to kind of rotate to people's houses who had energy and internet and everything and water and everything like that. So I was able to stay in Sealy for the most part. And I was actually able to do some really cool coverage that we, that Aaron had never seen before. So it was really cool to kind of chronicle history and take the pictures of the snow on all the official buildings on, downtown Sealy or, around in the parks and stuff like that. So it was definitely an experience. And yeah, now I'm the managing editor. So I'm not just doing sports and education, but I'm doing, I'm kind of, the head of the editorial department, so to speak, at the Sealy News. So it was pretty crazy, putting the paper together and really, putting together a really cool product that, ended up encapsulating, a pretty crazy week in Texas.
That's sick, man. So, I mean, you had a fantastic adjustment going down there. For like a lot of people leaving college, going to a smaller town like that, it can be wicked tough. So do you consider yourself like, is Texas home now for you?
A little bit, dude. A little bit. It's been great down here, and the Sealy community has really welcomed me with open arms. So that's been the biggest thing, that they're just always so appreciative of me going to a sports game or whatever local event is going on. They're just always thankful because it's just a small town, right? It is really similar to Milford. I really draw a lot of comparisons to it. It's obviously pretty different from Milford, Massachusetts, but it's still a small town. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's, I know the parents of the kids I'm covering because they're at the school board or they're a teacher or whatever like that. So it has really been a home away from home, and I think that's been a really big key to my success too, is how comfortable I am. I don't really feel homesick a whole lot because I've got family down here. I've got friends down here, family, so to speak. Friends down here. I've made friends down here, so it's been great. I couldn't have asked for a better first job right out of college. So
how long did that like take you to kind of feel like it's home? Like I'm sure the adjustment wasn't, at times it probably was hard, coming down from Massachusetts. So like, walk us through the process of kind of finding yourself in a position where you're pretty comfortable where you're at and enjoying it. Because I know that a lot of people, when they take a job in Texas or Mississippi or Missouri and they kind of go to that random place, they might hate it and stay there, try to get out after a year. I don't know what you're trying to leave or not or whatever, but clearly you must like it enough to be there.
Yes. Yeah. And at first, I really only came down here to be here for 2 years so I can move on and go on and upwards and everything like that. But it really did probably take about probably half a year to a year that really, I really got comfortable with the people around town, and they really got to know my face, and I got to know, they knew I wasn't out to get them or anything like that. I'm just here to write a good story. And, my quote unquote responsibility is to just get names and faces in the paper. When we're talking sports, we want to mention as many kids' names as doing things as possible. We want to put as many kids' faces in the pictures, with the stories that go along with them. So once people really got to see, what I'm able to do and what I'm able to provide to the community, they've just welcomed me. And like I said, just they will always want me there. They're always appreciative when I do go, and I'm always like, yeah, like no problem. Like it's going on in town. Like I'm there, no problem. I don't see it as any big thing, but they're always so appreciative. So it's been really cool.
That's sick, man. And I always wonder, kind of looking back on like the times at the Globe, right? Like how do you think your time at the Globe, you were there for a while, I feel like 2 or 3 years. How do you think that has helped you like transition into this role?
Big time. It's so crazy. Yeah, I was there my last 2 years there at Curry College. But yeah, I learned so much. I was able to make such good friends like y'all and everybody we worked with, and we really bonded well because we're all in the same boat. We're just trying to cover high school sports. Crazy Friday night, crazy Saturday, whatever the deal was. But yes, dude, I'll still pick up the phone. When somebody, hey Cole, you got a call. They forward it to my phone. I pick up the phone. Sports, this is Cole. The same way, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's that sense of urgency. I was actually just listening to the episode with Craig not too long ago, and that sense of urgency that he was talking about, covering those crazy Friday nights, and it really teaches you that deadline mentality and really get things going and just get to the point and get out. You know what I'm saying? So.
Dude, so what's you said Friday nights, like, I mean, I know you're not in the biggest city in Texas, but I'm sure like high school football is legit wherever you are in Texas. So what's the Friday night lights been like for you? I know you're a huge football guy anyway. And it's like, what's your Texas high school football experience been like?
It's been so awesome, dude. And so I actually live over in the Houston area. I've got a Houston address where I live, but I work over in Sealy. So Sealy's, like I said, kind of similar to Milford. It's a 4A high school, so it's not the biggest, which is 6A, but it's right below at 5A and then 4A. But it's been awesome. I've been, I get all the access. So I get, I'm on the field, I'm taking the pictures and I'm interviewing the coaches and as many players as I want and need after the game. And the last 3 years, the last 3 falls here, they've gone undefeated through districts, the district champions undefeated, going in with the 1 seed, going in the playoffs. And each of the years, both years, they went 3 rounds deep. So they got 2 playoff wins, which is, at that point, obviously everybody's good. So it's pretty crazy. It is just as crazy as it is, on TV and in the movies, ever like that. Like the town kind of shuts down. Everybody wears their black and gold on game day. And it is really cool to experience. And I've definitely taken in a couple extra moments here these last couple falls, especially this past one when we had no idea if it was really going to happen or if it was going to finish or whatever was going to happen. So
were there fans this past fall?
Yes, they were socially distant, so they had to wear a mask the entire time as well, and that's the same thing for me. All the sports reporters all have to wear a mask. All the coaches have to wear a mask on the sidelines. The kids, when they're playing, don't have to wear a face mask, but when they're on the sidelines, they're supposed to mask up. So it's kind of somewhere in between, but yeah, the fans were in the stands, the parents, and it's mainly they had ticketed entry, and it was mainly just like the parents and like the families and friends and closest friends, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't quite as packed, obviously, but the important people were there.
So Sealy, I looked it up. It's got like 7,000 or 8,000 people. So like
not even
pre-pan. All right, so like whatever, 5,000-6,000 people.
Yeah,
so like pre-pandemic, what percentage of those 5,000 or 6,000 people are at the Sealy football game on Friday night?
If it's a big one, and I've seen the stadium pretty packed up too, and I guess it's tough to say. Definitely several hundred, I would say. Well, I have personally seen at least probably 400 or 500 people at a game, and that's on both sides too. So it's not just the Sealy side, but like the away stands are pretty full too. I would probably say around 500, but bigger games probably closer to like the big playoff games were probably closer to 1,000. I would say. I would say that as a bigger number, but I'm not too sure. They didn't like announce the attendance like they normally do in college and pros. I wish they did though. That's just a cool number,
And you see it around the town too, like if people like throwing flags up and stuff like that, like they're wearing their colors and stuff on game day. Like, that's sick. Like coming from Newton, like I never imagined something like that.
Yeah, no, like all the downtown shops, they've got all black and gold and tigers on the windows, and obviously the high school is all decked out, and they do like a themed week for whoever they're playing and stuff like that. So it is really crazy.
Is like the Sealy High QB1 like famous in the town of Sealy?
Like it's kind of tough right now because he just played his sophomore season, but he's really gonna be that dude these next 2 years. So the quarterbacks previous. So the first year I got here, that kid's actually pitching for the baseball team at Rice University. So he's the QB1's kind of always like normally like the stud athlete that he's like the standout.
That's the life right there.
Exactly. So I wouldn't quite say that he's famous, but like I definitely write about him, in my game stories and everything like that. I normally talk with the quarterback after the game as well.
Like if QB1 walks into like, I don't know, like the sandwich shop Saturday morning after the game, like is he getting a free sandwich?
Probably. Well, hey, it depends if they lose, then maybe not. But if they win, then definitely he's getting hooked up. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's so cool. So, dude, you said you live in Houston technically. So, like, I know you've gone to some Texans games and stuff too. Like, you've gotten to kind of do. What's Houston like compared to Boston? I mean, I've never been there.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's massive. So there's a lot of different parts to it too. And I was able to cover some Astros too, and got to cover the World Series when I was here a couple of years ago. So awesome. I was in the city late nights and kind of walking around a little bit, and it is cool. It is a really cool city. They've got cool people down here. They love their sports, so that's another pro being down here as well. But I don't know. It at the end of the day, it is another city. It's hustling and bustling and big buildings and fast cars and everything like that. So it is pretty cool. I live all the way on like the outskirts, so I'm really just barely into Houston. So it's just about 30 minutes to get to Sealy every day. So it's not too bad. But I do get to get away from the country a little bit, so to speak, and get to the city.
So are you guys working like in the office mostly, or most of your meetings and stuff, or is it just like Zoom like this?
Nah, so we've been back in the office recently. So we just had the ownership transitions that led to the promotion that I just recently got. So in the new ownership management, we've been back in the office pretty much full time. Still putting out a paper every week and everything like that. So I have been going to meetings pretty much in person. Most of the meetings I have to wear a mask and stuff like that. Obviously, like I said, at the sports games, I'll wear a mask, but I know I'm still going out into town doing interviews and with people and everything like that. So it is a little bit different, in the heat of the pandemic. We actually had some furloughs going on, so I was basically kind of the managing editor at that time too. So that really helped me out as well, as I was able to kind of get the ropes, get the feeling of what it really is like to do this job. So I was a little bit more prepared for it when it finally came.
Is the editorial staff, like, is it just you, or are there other people too? Like how big is it?
Pretty much. No, it is pretty much just me. And even so, when I first started, I was a sports and education reporter, and I reported to the managing editor. Above that, we have a general manager who kind of runs the office, and then we've got a publisher who is, the big boss in the office. So now it was really, at that time, it was really just me and the editor kind of doing the majority of the reporting in the town. Now it is really just me in the town every day, but I do have, stringers, freelancers covering city council, and we also have commissioners court, which, city council governs the city. The commissioners pretty much does like the county and stuff like that. So, so I do have, 2 or 3 writers that I will kind of contract out and kind of assign stories to for, depending upon the week or whatever's going on. But other than that, it is just me, pretty much. Yeah.
You got some Hawks down there for you. You ship them down.
I wish they had the mentality of the Hawks.
So who are the writers and reporters that you're working with? Are they like local people? Are they young, old, like?
Yep. So the girl I've got covering city council right now is, I think, around my age. She actually worked for the Sealy News when my publisher came back. So the same publisher who hired me left for a year, then she just came back with this new company. So Holly had worked for Karen before. So that was good. The other ones are older than me, and they do kind of some feature type stories when a big thing's going on. I just had one of them doing coverage on the electricity situation down here in Texas that we saw statewide and everything like that. So we had some more storm coverage that she did, and but they've both been remote pretty much. So I haven't really even met them in person. So kind of weird, but they just deal over email or phone call or whatever, and they send me the story, I edit it and put it in the paper.
So what what do you, and I mean, you don't have to be that specific, but like, is Sealy like your spot, or like, are you like, what's the Cole McNanna path?
Yeah, so that is a good question. Like I said, when I first took the job, I my publisher will say that she hired me because I said I wanted to do 2 years here, learn as much as I possibly could, and get out and move on and upwards and do, something else bigger and better. Here I am in my third year already, and now I'm back with that publisher who already left for a year. I was getting ready to start looking for a new job, and then the pandemic hit, and then there was nothing really to be had. Now I'm here for probably another year, hopefully another year, maybe two, and then I'll go and maybe do. I would really like to get back to sports full time and not be the managing editor, the guy at the top of the chain. I want to be a little bit lower on the food chain again, and get back to really doing sports and sports photography. That's been a new passion of mine too, that I've got to shoot all my own stuff. So I've really taken an appreciation to it, and I really enjoy it. And I think that might be something maybe a little bit further down the road, but we'll see.
So I mean, but that's like a good amount of responsibility. I mean, I know it's a small city, but like you are the media, you are the news, like.
Yeah, all the time. Yep, that's what they call us. Hey, that's the news. That's the news guy.
Yeah, like you are the guy. Like, do you feel like pressure?
Sometimes, and especially this past weekend, we were just kind of talking, putting together this past week's paper. People will look back into the newspaper and see like, hey, like I wonder what happened, in when the pandemic hit in March and what the paper was like. And this past week, especially, since it was so historic and unprecedented and everything like that, we were saying like, hey, in 20 years, people are going to be like, hey, do you remember that ice storm in 2021? And people are like, oh, I bet it was in the newspaper. And they can go back into history and see like what was going on. And like, I always think that's so cool. We have the archives in our back room. So like when people will come in asking about, hey, like I had my marriage announcement even in like 2000. We can go back there and find it. I had, my kid made all district in 1980. Do you have that? Yeah, we got it. No problem. Hey, I made the honor roll in 1970. Like, do you have that? Yeah, no problem. So it is really cool to look back in history, and I do feel that pressure as to, hey man, like people are gonna look back now and be like, hey, well, I wonder what was going on, and I am the guy in charge. This face is in charge of what goes in the newspaper, everything like that. So it is. I do see pressure that way, but like I said, they've been so nice to me and so welcoming to me. It makes it easier for me for sure.
Dude, so I mean, I have a similar experience right now, like to you, because I'm covering. I mean, I'm not like an editorial, like a management.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm covering news like full time right now. So like, I did the Globe, I did internships, whatever, doing sports. For me, I feel like doing news. Like I feel like every sports writer should should have to do news. Like, do you feel the same way? Like how much have you learned doing news and education and all that stuff? And how do you think that if in a future opportunity, what would you say about that experience and how that would help you in sports? Because I think it would, right?
Absolutely, and 1000%. And I always kind of go back to my advisor at Curry, Jeff Lemberg. He would always say, news writing is good for the soul. He would always tell that to us in the sports classes, and I always disagree with him in the moment, but looking back on all the experiences, I always agree that yes, like getting to know news writing is very important when it comes to sports, because when you kind of don't really have a lot going on in the sports game, you just go back to thinking like, okay, like how would I cover this if it was a news event? And, you break down who, what, why, where, and when, and everything like that. And then you kind of get it rolling. I was fortunate enough to cover the school board meeting. So I was able to learn how to, cover a meeting and kind of take a 2.5 hour long meeting and cut it down into, a 700 word story, as to what the heck just happened there. That was definitely a learning curve. And that's definitely one of those moments where I was like, there's no chance this is going to help me in my sports writing, but it really has rounded me out as a writer and a reporter and an editor really too, because, I was editing I'm editing all the other stuff and I'm reporting on it and everything like that. So it has definitely helped me, and I will definitely use that, in interviews and stuff like that to lean on. And hey, I covered school board, I covered local events, I covered sports. So
one thing that that Greg talks about a lot, actually, that I think is pretty dope is like, like he gets opinions and like feedback from the community up in Waterville, like whether or not it be positive. Like, do you kind of experience the same thing? And what's the feedback back and forth that you get with the Sealy people?
A little bit, yeah, and because it's still a newspaper, a lot of the people who come by the office to pick up the paper are a little bit older, and at their same kind of way, just, hey, thank you, I just thank you for what you're doing and everything like that. Obviously we get, the fake news crowd and everything like that, on certain posts and stuff like that. We really can't avoid that. But for the most part, and obviously I hear a lot from the parents too of the kids that I cover, just, hey, thanks so much. You're doing such a great job and everything like that. So, and, we do get the letters to the editor as well. So I get to see those and see how people are interacting. But, like I said, apart from the fake news crowd, the majority of the community is always very appreciative of the newspaper and the newspaper people. So
I will say the feedback loop from sports is a lot different than the feedback.
For sure.
Like, when you're doing high school sports, you're doing 99.9% like very overwhelmingly positive stories.
Definitely.
Unless there's like a real huge scandal or crime or something. And like in news, if you're covering a school board and there's an issue, and half the parents don't want the kids to wear masks in school and half of them do or whatever, then if you cover it down the middle, both sides are gonna be pissed off at you.
Exactly.
So that's definitely what happens. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. There's definitely a section of the crowd. You can never please everybody, right? There's always going to be somebody mad at you, somebody who thinks you're doing a terrible job and thinks that you should be fired. But hey, I like to listen to the positive people instead.
That's funny, definitely. So what about in terms of like working for a weekly newspaper as opposed like like the Globe, you're in there Friday night, it's like we need all these stories and like you're like get this done like you have 14 seconds to write 250 words, like that type of thing. So like I know that your deadline cycle is a little different where you're probably not like putting in breaking news. So like what's your approach to a weekly newspaper? Like, are you mostly trying to get like evergreen feature type things? Like, what's kind of like the approach and how did you learn it? Because it's obviously different.
It is so different, and it was so weird really at first to kind of get into that groove. But so we're a weekly newspaper. We go to print on Tuesday evenings. Our driver goes and picks them up Wednesday, and then they're in mailboxes on Thursdays. So the paper is really dated for Thursday because that's when everybody will get the paper. So I really have to do my writing, over the weekend and Monday and Tuesday, really, obviously, because I'm such a good time manager with my bosses. If my bosses are listening, I'm not supposed to be writing on Tuesday, but I'm supposed to be done Monday so that we go to press on Tuesday. But I'm writing on Monday for telling people what happened earlier that week already. You know what I'm saying? So it is really tough covering a Wednesday school board meeting the week after, because I go to a meeting on Wednesday, I write about it, and then it's in the paper the next week. So it's already a week old. So that is tough to break news like that. Luckily, kind of going back to the beginning of the pandemic, the first case of COVID-19 in Sealy broke on a Monday, and I was able to get the story in, talk to the lady because she was a mom that I was friends on Facebook with because her kid plays sports. You know what I'm saying? So like it's that small town connection where we were able to stop the presses. We had that kind of moment, and we were able to break the news and have it in that week's paper. So again, it's people might not see it until Wednesday or Thursday. So it's already like, you can't talk like it was yesterday. It was earlier this week. You know what I'm saying? So it was just totally different. It was just a completely different grind that I was used to. And obviously like the sports don't really happen until the weekend. So I can't do a lot of my sports coverage until the weekend. And then I don't get to do a whole lot of fun things, but it's cool. I like covering sports.
What's like how many stories do you do a week? And do you have like a certain like types of stories? Do you do like, X amount of sports, X amount of education, X amount of features, X amount of short stories? Like what's kind of like or does it change? Like or you can just do whatever the heck you want?
I am pretty lucky. I can pretty much do whatever I want now. You know, even at the beginning, I really was too, because even then I was the sports and education editor. So still, I've always been an editor. Technically, that's just how they bill the position. But I'm able to kind of make my own schedule, and I go to whatever sports games are going on. I normally go to all the home games, and then I you know talk with the coaches on the phone. You know, if I can't make it to the away game. So I'm really writing as many stories as I need per week. So I always have 4 sports pages in whatever paper we have. So we've been doing a lot of 16-page papers recently. So I've got 4 pages of sports that I need to fill. So I've got, 3 pages and a jump page. So I kind of do, a story on each sport that's going on, and whatever kind of local news happens, I might help out on or chip in on or whatever. But for the most part, I'm making up my own stories. I'm giving myself, the story assignments, and, kind of going out and doing everything on my own, taking my own pictures and scheduling, everything like that. So it is kind of on my own, but of course, I always have to kind of bring it in, and we've got to fit. We've only got so much room in the paper, anyways. So it that helps me kind of narrow it down. So I can't even really give you a good number of stories per week. I do, because it that really does change week to week.
And dude, like, you got such a good energy too. Like, you're someone who, like, if I was writing, like, I don't want you to be my editor. Do you think you could see yourself like having a future and just editing, just assigning stuff like a Craig Larson maybe, or do you want to always be writing?
I guess down the road, I could see myself in that role, but like I said, like, even right now, like, I'm itching to go to sports full time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've even experienced that. I've even thought that when I was a sports and education reporter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could easily spend all of my energy covering just sports in Sealy, Texas, but I have to do the news and the local news and everything like that. But I do still enjoy the getting out on the street and talking to people and writing stories and stuff like that. So I think being in Craig's chair, it could be down the road, but for right now, I'm still a boots on the ground, get me out there type of guy.
How often have you gotten to go home? Like, I guess before the pandemic maybe would be a better gauge, but like, and like, did your family come see you? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. So really, I've really only taken a week in the summer and a week around Christmas time to be home, and that even, I did the same thing during the pandemic too. I had to come home just in the summertime and just get a break, because, like I said, I was on my own from March until that vacation in July, I'm pretty sure it was. So I was going full go, and I just had to stop. So I wanted to go back home just for a week and just hang out with my family a little bit. And same thing with Christmas. I just spent a week there. I was, especially this time, I stayed my distance and everything like that and everything. But my mom has come and visited 2 times. And my dad has come and visited 2 times as well. So I have been, and I still talk with them twice a week. I call them on Wednesdays and Sunday nights just to check in and say hey and whatever's going on. And I'll talk with my brother every so often too. We've got a Snapchat streak, so I see his face pretty much every day. But we don't really talk every day, so to speak. But yeah, no, I'm still in touch with everybody. Like I said, I don't feel homesick very often. I do feel it every so often, of course. But I'm still in touch with my college roommates. I'm still in touch with my best friends from home and everything like that. So it makes it easy when I've got so much to do that I can't really think about, wanting to be home or anything like that. So,
sure. Dude, so do you ever think about like where everyone else from the globe is, like from like your era of the globe? Like Liam and Matt and I always talk about like I would consider Liam, Matt and I's era is not the same era as yours. Like, you were
I guess so, yeah.
And then like,
because I was in the old building too. Y'all didn't go to Dorchester, did you?
No, like we were never in the old building.
Damn, that's crazy. Oh my god, dude,
like,
that makes me feel so
like
old now.
That first era, and then there's been at least like 1 or 2 after us. So like, dude, so like, I'm curious, where's everyone at? Like, we're like, I know Tom Petrini was in your
era. He's down here.
He's in Texas. He's actually doing pretty damn well for himself.
He's been doing awesome, dude. I'm so happy to see him. I actually rang in New Year with him one time too.
Okay, yeah.
But he's up in the Austin area doing the Spurs. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Where's everyone else at? Like Henry Brechter, what's he doing?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, it's so funny you mentioned him because he somehow had mutual friends with my brother's girlfriend. So they were at a wedding together. It was Mitch and Hank were at a wedding together, and they sent me a Snapchat. I was like, how do you know him? Like, what is going on? It was so crazy. But no, so like I said, I was just listening to the episode with Craig Larson. And he said that you can still see all the old names in Deadline. And I was like, oh my God, dude, that breaks my heart that like my name still pops up or our names still pop up, even though we haven't been there so long. But oh shoot, man. So yeah, so I guess you could say my crew, I was with Marissa and Jemmy was in that first group. We started around the same time. She's been killing it on the NWHL beat and everything like that. Tom Petrini was there. Sammy Hurwitz was a big name for me. I'm still in touch with Sambo. He's still killing it. He's not but I feel like just about nobody's really doing sports journalism anymore. But Emily McCarthy, I think, is doing NBA. She's living in New York, but she works for NBA. Craig mentioned Dan McClune was a guy I started with. There's a guy, Josh Schrock, went to Oregon. I think he's doing NBC. Logan Mullen went to Springfield, and he's doing Bruin stuff. Obviously, you guys talking with Sean McFarland. He was a guy that I knew, and that was funny too. Is that we had worked at the Globe for the longest time. I feel like we started around the same time, but I didn't even meet him until we went to the new building. So and I was sitting at a random Saturday shift, and it was me and Sammy, and then Sean was across the way, and we were like, oh, hey, man, like, good to meet you in person. And, like, I had talked to him a bunch of times. I've obviously seen his name and everything like that. But it was the weirdest thing that we had worked together, you know, for a year and a half, 2 years or so at that point, and hadn't met each other in person. So, yeah, man, what a wild ride it was back then. And there were so many other good people that I know I'm forgetting. Brandon Blom's another name. I don't even know what he's really doing now, but he was another big name. And of course, I'm forgetting Lenny Rowe, bro. I'm forgetting Lenny Rowe. He's the all-star, dude. Legend. He is a legend.
Oh my God, yeah. Dan Schulman, I'm sure was there.
Mm-hmm.
Schulman was there. He's another guy I never really met. But yeah, you're right. There are kind of like eras, and I guess I did overlap a little bit with y'all. But dude, like, man, that's crazy.
I think of like my era is like obviously like Matt and Liam, and then like I don't know, like kind of like Jenna, and but
who else, like
after us? Who else?
Alex Bensley, like who? Thomas,
Joe Rice.
Yeah, Joe Rice.
Joe Rice. I know Joe.
Yeah, Souza for
Dave
sure.
Souza,
for sure.
Yeah.
What about like Matt Case? Is that our era? Is that Cole's era?
That's our era. Like Whitezer.
I think that's you.
Whitezer's every era.
Yeah, Whitezer's
been there the whole year time too. Same with B Hall. I saw B Hall was on this show too. Yeah. He's a big name.
We are exhausting the Globe Hawk. And it's probably gonna be like at some point we're gonna run out. We're just gonna get the same people over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's more fun that way anyway. So.
What a ride! But man, I always think back to those Globe days and those Saturdays hanging out with you guys and just chopping it up.
You ran the Friday night
scores, dude. Yeah, Friday nights, that was awesome.
You ran Friday nights. You could finish.
Get some Chipotle.
You could get those box scores in like nobody's business.
Just lock in, go to work, dude. Just the lunch pail kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? Just
the Brian Cardinal of the Globe Hawkness.
Hey, I had a lot of pressure on me because I was a Curry guy and Craig was a Curry guy, and then at that time I was the only Curry guy. So
high expectations.
Had high expectations, and I was just hearing him tell the story when Zach Levy broke the state rushing record that playoff weekend. Zach Levy goes to Curry College now. He's playing football for Curry College, dude. I was like, so that blows my mind. I almost want to say I picked up that phone call too, but I'm not quite positive, but. There's a really good chance I picked it up here. Right?
Do you have any like regulars like a Prager type or like a Lewis Lois type calling in?
Oh man, I really don't have any good like standout stories, but I definitely feel those calls of, you know, hey, do they still have a chance, or, you know, what time is the Red Sox going on, and, you know, who's pitching for them, and oh, he's a bum.
Do they still have a chance?
Dude, those characters. I miss those characters though. I do wish, like, when I pick up the phone and Sealy, like, I wish like I had random questions like that. But
I wish these guys call me.
I do get them so often.
They're hilarious. They can
Yeah,
have my
dude,
number.
like-
I don't care. Like, call me.
Like Matt's still doing shifts. Like Matt has a shift tonight, and like he has the phones like with him.
No way.
Like, dude, I would just keep them on. Like,
I love it when those guys call. It's awesome. There was a guy after you left that called always about BU stuff, and like I was always so excited when he.
Oh my gosh, that's so perfect.
I was like, do you know Max Mahoney? He's like, yeah, I freaking know Max Mahoney. Like, he
Of
lives
course,
in
what do you
or
mean?
whatever. And he's just like, that's sick. And it's like, yeah, that's awesome.
There was that one guy who knew Curry College too, and I never told
Yeah,
him
there
I
was
went
a
to
Curry College,
because then I would never ever hear the end of it. So I think I learned that from Ryan Hathaway. Ryan Hathaway is another big name that I left off that list too.
oh, I
Great.
forgot.
Ryan Hathaway is he holds a special place in my heart because he was my editor for the Courier Times too, right? So like we bonded together, we grew up together a little bit too. So
Yeah, I might
he's
rank
the best.
Ryan Hathaway. Ryan Hathaway is probably number one on the nicest Globe Hawk.
Yeah, dude's the
people
man.
List. Like he's like the nicest guy I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, dude, we were on
he
girls
is
lacrosse
the
together.
best. Yes.
Dude, he took me under his wing. Like,
He's the nicest.
He's
Him and
such a
Jeremy
cool dude,
Relosa,
man.
the two nicest people in the.
Oh,
Globe Hawk.
yeah.
Jeremy, oh my gosh, I forgot all about Jeremy because he's out in New Mexico right now, dude. Like he's doing he's with the out like an outdoor magazine. He gets to just fucking hike. Sorry, can I swear in this episode?
Of course.
Sorry.
yeah, you good.
Sorry, I meant to ask that question. Jeremy just goes out hiking and covers it for the magazine, and they've got such great pictures. He does such great stuff out there. He's another big name that I left out.
Him and
that list,
Hathaway,
too.
the two nicest guys. In the
Oh,
Globe.
no
Yes,
doubt.
dude. Yes. Oh my gosh, they're the best. They're the best, dude. And we met such great people through that place, man.
Dude, like the Hawk Desk is like so like underrated fun too. Like honestly, like I mean, like obviously you're in college Friday night, Saturday night. Like not everyone wants to be at work, but like for work on a Friday or Saturday night, it's a pretty good job. Like you're just chilling, like
It's pretty
taking
cool,
phone
man.
calls, watching the Celtics on TV. Like it's not a bad, and it's really not bad. Like it's pretty.
It is.
fun.
It is really cool. And one of my favorite memories is hanging out on a Saturday day shift. And for some reason, there was a tournament going on at the Garden, and whoever we had on the boys basketball beat like wasn't there. Somebody's phone was dead or something like that. And Craig was like, "Hey, like, do you want to go to the Garden and cover this random tournament?" And I was like, "Hell yeah! What are you talking about?" So I literally just walked from the office to the Garden
Yeah,
and signed in and sat down and then my phone fucking died. Then my phone died, and then I was on this, and then I had to come back to the office and charge it up. So
I feel like the Globe Hawk Desk is like, it's not like a secret, but it's kind of like the best kept like secret job like for a college kid in like the country, honestly.
for sure,
Like there's
for
like
sure.
no better job like if you want to be and they do it for news too. It's not just sports. Like
Exactly.
like there's so many opportunities for when you're in college at the Globe, and like I don't even know. Like the Globe doesn't get enough credit for that, honestly.
Because it's
The
just
amount
so competitive, maybe I was gonna say like
But the amount of
there's
people
just not a lot of slots.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
everyone could be a Hawk. If you email Craig and you you know make you got the three stooges who were all Hawks. Like anyone,
That's a good point. That's a good point.
already could be a Hawk. Like come on, like anyone could do it. So you know, like it's really it's so cool. Like I don't think people understand like how, and even if you like you're not even if you don't do journalism after, it's a great experience. Just like
That's what I'm saying. Where
100%.
a lot of those people that we listed off like aren't doing journalism anymore. You know what I'm saying? They're doing literally so many different things that are people doing instead of
like it's
in
a great
sports journalism.
experience. It's so much better than like working in like a college library or something. You know. Like,
Yeah, working in like a mail room or something.
yeah. Like, for the boss.
Gosh, those are awful day jobs that you guys thought of. Like, what the heck?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're in college, you know, you have your.
I guess so. Yeah, you're limited to the campus jobs, sort of.
Right, but like the Globe is so much better, and like you just like go to like random high school. Like I always went to the basketball games. Like just go to random Oliver Ames high school basketball games. And, like, dude, I don't know, it was fun. I loved it. But
I've also translated the mascot knowledge down here too, and I always try to get as many mascots in the paper as well. And dude, there are some characters down here, man. I'll tell you what.
what's the best mascot around you?
Oh man, there's so many to choose from.
Or worst mascot? Whatever one
The
comes to mind.
the worst ones I feel like are like Texans or like Cowboys or something like that. Like there's a good deal of those. I think Tigers is actually one of like the most common ones, which is kind of lame too. But you know, there's the Mason Punchers. It's literally like Mason Punchers, but it's like a Bronco in their logo or something like that. There's Pied Pipers. There's Sugar Beaters. There's
What is that?
I don't even know, dude. Like, I don't even like it was like an old time, like how you made sugar, maybe. I really don't know. But there are some really cool, like there's also like all like so where I'm at is the Sealy Tigers, the Belleville Brahmas, which are cows basically, and the Wallace Cougars, which is kind of lame. And then there's like the Faith Academy Knights is a private school I cover too. But down in El Campo, they have the Rice Birds.
Ooh.
I don't really know what the hell a rice bird is, but there's one of those.
Mascots that don't make sense or like really obscure are the best mascots.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like all the high school mascots in Massachusetts all suck. Like there's not one good one.
Hey, Scarlet Hawks, baby. What are you talking about? Come on.
They're literally, I can't even think of one that I think is like cool. Like they're all just like very basic for the most part in Massachusetts.
I've lost all my Massachusetts mascots and replaced them with Texas mascots. I really can't think of Massachusetts mascots anymore.
Liam, I'm trying to think of a cool. Like, are there any cool ones? Like I can't even think of a cool one.
I mean, like
the Brighton Bengals is kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, Bengals, Falcons is cool, but
like,
that's what we're working with.
It's like nothing.
That's what we're working with.
Right.
I mean,
just animals, really, right?
Birds like the Hingham Harbormen is kind of like good, I guess. Like
the Situate Sailors.
Yeah, but it's like, meh, like who cares?
Yeah.
Well, Cole, was great talking to you, dude. It was great to catch up.
Yeah, man.
Great dude. The energy is not gone away at all.
Fantastic.
You've only gotten more energy.
I think so, but no, it's so great to see you guys and talk with you guys and catch up with you guys. Thanks so much for having me on. Shout out to Milford. Shout out Curry College.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Shout out Craig Larson. Shout out Curry College alumni. Craig Larson. He is the best.
He's the
godfather.
He's the godfather of this podcast, honestly.
He really is. He really is. So I am blessed and I am privileged to be on the same podcast that Craig Larson.
You're a disciple, just like the rest of us.
Exactly.
I'm sure Craig doesn't listen to this, but if he does, maybe he'll listen to this one. He should know that we're all his disciples.
Yes, dude. Craig is the best. Craig's the reason we're all friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, I miss when he would walk over to the desk and like you'd think he's locked into some high school game and he'd be like, "Can you believe Jason Tatum sucks tonight?" It's like Craig, it's just so funny.
Such a character that man is, but he's
Champ,
the best, dude.
How about Champ?
Champ, I don't have any good Champ stories either, but except for him throwing the Reese's to us from across the way. he did that at the old office too, and gosh, dude, it's so crazy that y'all didn't even go to the old office.
No, yeah, dude.
Never.
He did that in Dorchester too.
Well, we never will, fortunately. All right, cool. Have a good one, man. We really appreciate
it, man.
Great talking to you.
All right, boys. Peace. Good to see y'all.
See ya.